Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you doing today? So I'm Elizabeth Arroyo from Guadalajara. And here are my colleagues, Juan Manuel from Chiapas and Tabasco and Hector from Chihuahua. And today I'm going to start the session. So you can call me Liz as well. It's easier and shorter. So remember, what was the homework? During our last session, we told you about some homework that you had to do. Do you remember? Who can share it with us what the homework was? Do you remember?
We have to answer some questions.
Yeah, Shansi, very well. Yeah, okay. So you needed to choose at least 5 prompts from each section or from the whole section on the essay brainstorming questions document and write about them, right? And including some details. All right, so we were talking about some values as well. And we said that these questions were going to help you or are going to help you because this is an ongoing process. Okay, you're going to see that you'll need more than 1 or 2 sessions to make your ideas flow naturally. Okay. All right. So who can share his or her question and his or her answers, or what you wrote related to that question? Shensi, could you start, please? Which was the question that you chose? One of your favorite?
Yeah, I'm gonna use the same one I used yesterday, and it was what has made you strong, independent, and confident and resilient. And my first answer was my parents allowed me to live in another country. And after like thinking about what to write, I wrote that I hadn't realized how alike I am to my grandma. She left from her house around the same age, like 13, 14. But she went like to another town and stayed to Tamaulipas. That's where I'm from. To look for new opportunities and a better quality involving her life. I followed her example without realizing it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Shensi. And well, that is a very good example of an inspiring situation. Okay, so about someone who inspired you. And that is something that is also very important, okay, to find those role models, okay, in our life so that we can also follow their steps, okay. And well, very, very good, Shensi. Who can also share his or her question and his or her writing, what inspired you to write? Actually, I'd like all of you to participate. So I'd like to invite Patricio.
Yes. So one of the questions I picked was like what is my main area of academic interest? And I decided to answer STEM topics.
Was that your answer? Only your answer? STEM topics?
Yeah, like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
All right, very good. Do you have another question where you could develop your writing more than this one that you shared with us?
Yes. So another one of the questions I picked was, would you still pursue this interest with your future job in this area? And I replied by saying, as long as said income is enough to live comfortably, yes, I would, since I consider something working in something that you enjoy is very important, even if said career may not bring you the largest sums of money.
Awesome. Very good, Patricio. So that is something very important that we need to reflect on, right? So yeah, we work to earn money, of course. Okay, we need to pay the rent or the bills, but it is also very important to think about working on something that it is satisfactory, okay, for you in many ways, all right, because you're going to spend a lot of time in your lives, okay, performing that job. So that is very important. So from that idea, you can also take other ideas, Patricio, so that you can develop, for example, thinking about which are those things that you enjoy doing, or how do you imagine yourself working in, or what kind of activities do you think you can work on, or which attitudes, habits would you like to develop? All right, so but it is a great start. Very good. Thanks for sharing, Patricio. All right, so I'd like to invite Jackie Carvajal. I don't know if you're able to activate your microphone this time, Jackie, so that you can
Yes,
share.
I
Yes.
think.
Oh,
Yes.
excellent. Very good. Yes. Okay. So can you share one of your favorite questions and its answer, so that you can share some information with us?
Yes, I choose what keeps you up at night. And most of the time, something that keeps me up at night, it's nerves or excitement about something important that I'm going to do in the next few days, or something that happened to me I can't stop thinking about. Yes.
Okay, great. Very good. So, and can you share one of those things that that keeps can you share with us one of those things that keeps you thinking, like maybe with some excitement, maybe about the future, or do you generally have those ideas for planning something?
No, most of the time it's when I have important matches and or tournaments. Yes, I get super nervous, and oh, I have to do my backpack, I have to prepare my things, oh, I have to play very well, and all that kind of thoughts.
Okay, so like preparing so that everything is in order and so that you don't miss anything, right?
Yes.
All right, very good. So is there any thought there that motivates you in some way?
Well, I think that, I don't know, maybe that in one match that could be a resort, I don't know, and I said oh, I have an opportunity, you know. Yes.
Yeah, okay, very good. So, and could it be related to the value of faith, having faith in yourself, or self-confidence?
Yes, self-confidence, actually.
Great, very good. So see how one thing is related to another, and remember that last session you started thinking about, thinking about values. Yes, and you had your core value, and then after that core value you could answer some general questions, and now you chose more specific questions. So every time you have a prompt, okay, that prompt helps you taking out your ideas or letting them flow in some way. All right. So this is an ongoing process. So congratulations to all of you, and thanks for sharing your ideas, and see how one thing could relate another one, and how you can have also new ideas on that same topic. Another strategy that also helps narrowing your ideas and taking more information from one prompt is sharing what you shared now with me or with us right now, is to share that idea with someone who cares about you. Someone who knows you, for example, your mom, your dad, a grandparent, your best friend, or any relative you have who knows you. And he or she can give you more ideas on how you can keep on developing that topic or talk about that theme, okay? So very good, guys. So congratulations. We're going to continue today in this session now with Hector, who's going to share with you very important information so that you can continue with this process. So Hector, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Liz. I will give you some tips to get started in the process of brainstorming, in the process of get together and collect all your ideas in order to write your essay. Remember that we're going to write a personal statement for the admission process of a U.S. university. So I would like you to give you some tips, like start early. I know it sounds like you have a lot of time because the process will be starting this year, but you're going to be admitted the next year. So it might sound like you have a lot of time, but as we have seen in the past, time is going fast, so fast. So I would like to recommend you to start early to draft and edit this draft, because the process of writing, it might take you a couple of months, and you're going to do several drafts. It's not only one. You're going to be working in a lot of versions of your essay, which finally should be edited and delivered in order to be admitted to the university. So I will recommend you to start early and take the time to do it. So that will be my first tip for you. Also, create your version of your curriculum. It's a good point, because you can get all the ideas of what you have done in the past in a single paper, and then you can get ideas from that. So maybe if you work in a research, or maybe if you work in some classes that you think are very important, you can get ideas from there, and then maybe you can get experiences from those ideas and wrote down a part of your essay. Maybe if you are talking about your academic background in your essay, you can get ideas from your CV, which is very important, because maybe if you have all the list of all the classes and maybe all the activities, extracurricular activities that you have been on, it's a good place to start. So create your CV. It's a good thing to do. Also, write down the essay prompt. If the university is providing with some instructions, it's going to be easier for you. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely on your personal experiences. But if your university is saying, well, write down why you want to go to this university, then you have the reasons as your part of your essay. So it's more easy to start in that way. But yeah, always write down your essay prompt and try to answer as effective as you can. Because sometimes we tend to start writing one thing and then jump into another thing, and then at the end we don't have the essay prompt answer. So yeah, try to do that. Try to focus on your essay prompt, and those prompts are given by the university sometimes. So yeah, also make sure to include your background, because as Juanma mentioned in the past session, this is about you. This essay is about what you are, what you've been, and what you will be. So it's important to have this background reflect on this essay and to show and represent it. It is very important that you tell the audience, in this case, the admissions office, who you are and what you're gonna be given to the university. Also talk about your interests, ambitions, and priorities. It's very important because in that way, the university it's going to see what you are to give to the research project, maybe, or maybe to the department. If you are going to study engineering, for example, what are you bringing into the university engineering program that you're going to be admitted? Also, what shape the way you think. It's very important to give this information to the university because in the end, it's what makes you unique from other applicants. So I'm gonna give you one tip that helps me a lot when I went writing essays. In the case when I wrote my admissions essay, I developed something visual because I'm kind of visual person. If you see my presentation, it's not that with a lot of I don't know, words, but more ideas. So I'm more a visual person. So what I did was this map, which it's about my academic story. This is the whole point or the main point of my essay. And then I developed some ideas. For example, my goals and objectives. I talk about this in my essay. Another part of the essay was my background skills, what I know, what I can do. Also, my ambitions and priorities, as I mentioned, what are the goals that I have set for myself, and people and books that inspire me. And as you are going to see later on in the presentation, I talk about these persons and these books in my essay, and cross-cultural experiences that I had that make me a good candidate for a US university. So as you see, I have these 5 ideas on this map that I call this mind map that I have in here. And at the end, we're going to talk about Hector's history. So these 5 points, I develop each one of those in a paragraph. So it's very important that I spend some time trying to figure out what are the people and books that I want to talk about, what are some ambitions that I have. And I spent time, maybe one day, writing only on people and books. And then I wrote all those ideas that I have regarding what people inspire me, what books I have read that I found interesting. And maybe I spend more than one day. I could spend weeks talking about those, but at the end, it's going to be in a paragraph that will reflect my work in the past. So this is one tip that I will give you. Try to work on in this kind of exercise, in where you can map up your ideas and the concepts that you want to talk about. So it's very important and it's very helpful. And if you need more information, or if you need more tips on how to develop this, there's a lot of information in our classroom and in our blog that we have in Education USA, and where you can find all this information. Okay, this was some part that we missed the previous session. So I don't know if Juanma, you want to jump in for the content from this particular session now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hector and Liz. All right. So the other part of the homework for today was that we had 2 essays for reading. And one, and I hope that you got some time to read. Let me share my screen. So these essays, and later you'll have time to read it all. Hopefully that you will learn more about these how to write essays. But for now, I want us to focus on a couple of the essays. Let's start with this one. The one this is what we would call a supplemental essay, and this one is from Boston University for people who are applying specifically for the trustee scholarship. So if you're applying for the scholarship, they're going to ask you to write a specific essay. Besides the Common App essay, they want you to write another essay. So there's 2 options here. They have the option 1, Howard Truman, who was the dean for the BU's Marshall Chapel from 1953. to 1965. One's wrote, and that's one option. And then the other option, right, so yeah. So can you describe a particular experience you have had or an activity that you participated in that makes you come alive? So based on this quote from Howard Truman, they're asking you to do two things. One is, can you describe a particular experience? And then the other one, how will you try to integrate that experience or activity into your time at BU, right? So you read this already for homework. So what are your thoughts in the light of what we saw last session? Remember that we talked about how these essays need to be a telling of a story, remember, and then description and all that. What do you like about these essays? Tell me. You guys read the essay, right? Or you guys didn't write the essay? You didn't read the essay?
I didn't. I'm reading it right now.
Oh, you're reading it right now? Okay, so I'm gonna give you 3 minutes so you can read it. All right, and then after that we can discuss. All right. So what do you like about this essay?
Well, this person gives us some of their experiences in the past and how, and through these anecdotes tells us what drives them and what makes them come alive.
Mhm.
In their case is to help other people find their passions and become the best versions of themselves.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Thank you, Patricia. Anybody else? Jacqueline, Shensi, what do you guys think?
Well, I think the same that Patricia thinks. This person says that, well, his passion is to help other people's, like, to found their talents maybe. And he also tell that he participated in like model United Nations debates, and that helped him like to, well, improve in many
Mhm.
areas.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Jackie.
I like that he or yeah, I guess it's he. He's saying that he wants to like take people out of their comfort zones as well, cause but like he's taking himself outside by like making this club and like in a third world nation, I guess he said that. And it's
Mhm.
really hard because, well, I could relate to that when he explained like where he was from and everything. Because it's harder to make everything by, well, by your own.
Mhm.
And maybe sometimes in the United States they support a lot like the students' voices. And
Mhm.
well, I like how he wants to like first he brings himself out to help other people like to make it easier because he already went through that path, you know. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah. Yeah. And I think thank you for that to the three of you. One of the things that when we, especially as we review applications for example, for the Opportunity Funds Program, we realize that the UN model activity, although it's really for very specific students, like not all the students in a high school get involved, almost every student that applies for the Opportunity Funds Program has participated in a United Nations model. So although it's a very good activity, it's a very common activity among really good students. So I really like how this student is saying, yes, I participate in the United Nations model, but I'm taking it further. I'm making this organization a global citizens organization, and within that, one of the things that we're doing is the United Nations model. The other thing is it's helping us understand why the UN, this activity, the UN model is important for them. Why is it important? It's because it's not just because I enjoy that or I want to do international relationships, but I love developing people's skills and helping people develop their getting them out of the comfort zone. So it's helping us understand why this is important. And then the other thing is remember that you need to be answering the prompt. If there isn't a specific prompt, you need to be answering it. So the here is what makes you come alive, and how are you going to use that when you are in our university? And this person is answering those two things. They're saying this makes me feel alive, and uh, this is how I plan to use this in college. Uh, yeah. All right. So let's go to the content for today. I want to show you. Um, and I hope that you're taking notes, but at the same time, know that you are going to be having this recording if you want to go back to this content. But please, 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 really, I would encourage you to take notes and ask questions. So today, we want to start the content by addressing what are some of the elements? So we're already talking about that you need to create content, that you have to tell a story. Why is it this important? How to get ideas from it. Liz taught you some brainstorming activities. Hector is telling you how you can, what are some of the themes and topics that you could go about, and how, and starting on your mind map, for example. But then the next thing is we want you to see also some characteristics or things that you should include, certain elements that we call them for the writing. So one of the very important things that you need to think about is that these essays need to show. And then on the other side of showing is telling. We don't want you to tell things. We want you to show things. Instead of saying that, instead of telling us that you are responsible, show us that you are responsible. Instead of telling us that you value friendship, show us how you value friendship. And that's how, I really appreciate that Patricio has mentioned this 2 times already. He talks about anecdotes and stories, but through your anecdotes and your stories and the things that you're going to tell us in your essay, you need to show us those qualities that are important to you, right? And how have you cultivated those throughout your life? How these abilities have prepared you for your college life. So remember, it's about showing, not just telling. Because you could tell us that you are responsible. You could tell us that you're a good student, but how are you showing that? And if you can remember in the essay that we just read, you can see that the student is showing you a lot of their qualities, right? That they care about other people. But through the activities that they're doing, they're showing you that they are responsible because that they have initiative, because they started a club, an organization, right? So you can see those things, not because I say I am responsible, but I'm showing you how I am responsible. So I want to tell you these 4 qualities that you should really, really have in your essay. The number 1 has to do with values, and we already, Liz helped us to understand and drive our writing through our values. And these are basically the things that you consider important. What is important to you? Right? Is your family? Is honesty? Is it friendship? And it needs to be seen in your essay. People who read your essay, they need to know, what are your values. Let's remember that the essay that we just read, we can tell what are the values of the writer. The writer values people improvement, improving people's abilities, right? The other thing that you should really, really think about when you're writing is that it needs to have vulnerability. This is really important. Vulnerability is really important for this essay. Remember that we're writing a personal statement. Personal statements need to be personal, right? Through this essays, you want the admissions team to know you better, to know your story. They want it to feel closer. So you need to ask yourself if you are saying things about you. The third thing is insight, aha moments, right? And you need to think of yourself as if you were a critic, if you are a critic of your life, if you are the painter, but at the same time, you are the art critic commenting about the painting. So you're doing both. So you need to have moments that reveal the opinion about your own life. And at the end, number 2, we have craft. And then I'm going to get deeper into these things. So the first one is you need to talk about your values, right? So once you start writing, and once you have your first draft, or before you start drafting, you need to think about what values do you want to put in your essay. If you're reading your first draft, you want to say, what values am I presenting? What values are not there that are important for me, but are not there? Values are going to be the driver for you to take decisions, for you to go into certain schools, to taking jobs, to marrying someone. These are going to be important things for you. So you better know them before the sooner you know your values, the better for you. So your values need to be in your essay. You already did that exercise and you brought down, you narrow it down from 20 to 10 to 5 to the 1, right? That one essay needs to be somewhere in your. Now, remember, by showing, not telling, by showing, you don't want to say, oh, what I valued the most is friendship, right? It's like, how can you show us that that's what you value? Now, the next thing, the second thing is, remember, vulnerability. And this is, you want people to know you. Sometimes it means sharing certain parts of you that you had not shared before, probably in public. I remember that I have read a couple of essays where students are basically coming out of the closet, for example. Or I read one essay where the students share about the problem she had with depression. So those are things that are really, really personal to them. Your essay needs to be personal. Your essay needs to say, after someone reads it, they need to feel the impression that they know you better, that no one else could have written that essay because only Jesus, only Hector, only Liz, only Jacqueline, only Shensi, right? Only Juan, only Patricio, only you could have written that specific essay. If I change the name and I put someone else's name, it's not going to work because you're telling something that is really, really just about you. So make sure that your essay captures who you are in a unique story that only you can tell and that you want to tell. It needs to have vulnerability. Now, don't confuse though, because there is such thing as too much sharing. And sharing personal details, it's not really going to get you that admission or that scholarship. It's not about who shares more personal stuff. It's not about making the admissions counselor cry or inspire them or share too much that you would let the person reading your essay feeling like that was too much sharing. I didn't know to know all of that. All right, so it's not about oversharing. It's not about that. It's about what parts of yourself can you share that would leave the reader saying, I really feel like I know Hector more. I really feel like I know Shensi more. And I understand their values. I understand why they want to come to this school, and I understand why they want to come to the United States and study, right? So yes, nobody else could have written this essay. You need to be vulnerable. It needs to be personal, but wisely. It's not just sharing personal stuff just by sharing, right? You don't need to share certain things, right? You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be emotional. It doesn't have to make people cry, okay? The next one, and I think this is one of the key things, is that your essay needs to be insightful. It needs to have those aha moments, those aha, oh, I understand now, right? But that you have had through your experiences, right? Remember, like I said, this doesn't need to just say, it needs to show. So an effective way of doing this is through analyzing a pattern or an experience that you have had, right? So it's not just enough by sharing experiences. It's about analyzing and having insightful thoughts about your experiences. Like I said earlier, is you are the painter, but at the same time, as you are the painter creating the art, you are also the art critic and saying, right? I think this means, right? I think that when the painter was doing this strokes of paint, she was trying to tell us that, and that's the person that you're trying to be. So you want to get deep into your experiences, right? And then your insightful ideas should show evidence that would answer the questions how and why you want to enter college. And we'll look into this a little bit more, but those moments are key. Sometimes people, so I know that some writers tend to go deeper into describing situations, but then they don't make sense of them. So what did this experience meant for me, for you, right? Make sure you use vivid language to explain your experiences. And then the fourth quality is what we call craft. And craft has to do with, the word craft when you're doing crafty crafts, it's because it's art, it's a piece of art. It's so beautiful. It's so well made. It has been crafted with so much careful attention. And the artist that has done that craft knows exactly why did they do the craft in that color, why the shape, why the amount of material that was used, all of those special and specific pieces of that piece of art, there's a reason for those. So when you're thinking about your essay, there's a craft, there's an art to it, and that you know exactly what is each paragraph doing. Sometimes I ask my students and I say, but why is this paragraph here? Like, I don't understand what's the purpose of this paragraph, right? Or why is a specific sentence here? So a good writer knows exactly why they are writing something and how they're writing it, because there's a specific way that this person wants to say those things. So you should know, what is each paragraph doing? What is the purpose of each paragraph? So in this paragraph, I want people to understand my background. In this other paragraph, I'm sharing the challenges that I experienced with this activity. And then in the last paragraph, I'm letting people know how I overcame those challenges, because it's important for them to know my background, the challenge, but also how I overcame those challenges and what I learned from them, for example. And you can see, oh, so you know what each paragraph is doing, what each sentence, and why each word, right? Meaning, for example, why are you choosing to use this word instead of another synonym? And you can say, no, I know exactly, because this specific word, it's supposed to make the reader feel a little bit more closer to me than if I use this other word. There is not going to actually be as effective as if I use this other one, right? So things like that. You are, in this whole process, you're an artist and you're doing things. You should know exactly how you're doing everything for this. And then the last thing that I want to say is, remember that your essay must talk about one sustained topic. And you could use different examples, you can use descriptions, you can use different words and vivid language to express those. But remember that it's about one main story. And I really like this image because I think the American way of writing, of academic writing, it's pretty straightforward. It's like, this is where the story began, this is where the story ends, right? But especially Latin Americans, Spanish speaking people, we tend to really confuse people in the story, right? It's like, oh, this is the pre-story to that. This is where you could start. But then we go about and do too many details. Wait, okay, back to the story, right? And then another story related, and then we lose track, and then there's many different things. When remember what we were saying, that a good storyteller goes straight to the point and knows how to move from a point A, B, C, and E, and how not really effective story tellers tend to go off to the sides and then get lost in their descriptions and all that. So think about that also, right? Now, let's have the second essay that I want us to read. I mean, that I hope you read. Hopefully you read the second one, which is the girls, first girl in electronic. Did you read that one?
Which one?
First girl in electronics, this one. Did you guys read it? For homework? I don't think so. Okay. No. Well, okay. So I think it's gonna be for homework for you guys because I don't want to spend too much time on this one. But the idea with this one is that you would see the these four things, right? Where do you see vulnerability in this essays? Where do you see craft? What is each sentence, each paragraph, the way it is, right? It's really well planned. And then the other things that we talked about had to do with what are the values and what are the values, and if there was any vulnerability, right? But we're not going to do it because you guys didn't read the essay, so we're going to move on then to the next activity. And now let's go with you guys. Hector, and this, I'm going to stop sharing the presentation.
Okay, Hector.
All right. Just a quick note. You had homework for this session, and I think it's very important that on the future on you're part of a cohort that it's called opportunity, and you are gonna have a lot of homework from this project. So I will recommend you to do the homework and try to read the essays and do the work, because eventually it will catch up with you. And I think it's very important that just to say that, because it's in the American way, it's very straightforward. There are not makeups for deadlines, so try to keep that in mind in the future. I'm gonna talk about a little bit how an essay looks in a paper. As Juanma was saying, the way to write in the American way, it's very straightforward. So there's a structure for essays, and I'm gonna give some examples of how it works. So for example, you have to you need to have an introduction for your essay. And in this introduction, you talk about your compelling open statement, which most of the time it's an anecdote or it's a previous story about what you're talking about. For example, if you're talking about your desire of starting a career on arts, or maybe on design, or maybe on I don't know, law, or any other area of study, you try to tell the reader why you want to study that area. For example, in my case, I will start saying why my passion for education started. And I can take the reader from my childhood, when I saw my mom doing classes and teaching classes and a study. So I will tell a little bit about my childhood and how one anecdote that I remember when I was in 6th grade, and I remember that I taught my fellow or my peers some topics, and maybe that was the starting of everything. And I will tell a little bit more in that short story. So that will be my introduction. But at the end of the introduction, once that I finish telling the readers about my story on education, I will say what the essay is gonna be about. So I will say, well, this is my story. This is my childhood story, but this essay is gonna be about my goals, my accomplishments, and my career plans and education. And that will be my thesis statement, which is actually regularly a statement that says all that I just have said in one sentence. And the rest of the essay is going to be about those 3 topics, which will be my goals, my accomplishment, and what I want to do. So basically, the main idea from the next paragraphs, it's going to be focused on my maybe my background, and that will be supported by one idea. So I will say, I don't know, for example, I will talk in one of the main ideas about my backgrounds of skills that I have developed, which is experiences mostly. And I will support that background and skills idea with another main idea. So that will be the first paragraph of my essay. And then I will spend all the time talking about those backgrounds and skills. And then once that I finish, I can move to the next main idea, which would be my interests, ambitions, and priorities. So I will support that main idea with all the details that I want to focus on. And then I can move on onto the third idea, which is my influence on books and cultural experiences that I will talk on the third paragraphs. And at the end, I will summarize all that I wrote and period in that conclusion. So this is what it will look like. This is something that I wrote. In the introduction, I'll say, I believe that in order to teach something, you need to forget everything you think you know about the topic. That will be my my compelling open statement. I will open my essay with that open statement, and then I would build on that, which will be the best way to write in my introduction. And at the end of that introduction, I will say, I consider that my background experiences, which will be my first main idea, interests and skills make me a strong candidate for the education program. This is what my essay will talk about, and I will develop every main idea. And one of the examples that I will give you for the main idea one, it's I have been a teacher for more than 10 years. Let's say that I'm applying for a PhD program in education. So this will be one of my main ideas for the first paragraph. And then I will build on that. I have been a teacher for more than 10 years, and my experiences have carried me on in this long journey. So yeah, I will develop that idea, and then I will move on into the second one, which will be, I want to pursue a PhD on international education, because that's one of my interests and ambitions and priorities. So that will be the second part of the second paragraph that I will wrote. And then I will talk about my influence of books and cultural experiences. So for the third paragraph, I will say, when I was in college, I was marked by the work of Paulo Freire, which is one of the main person that I think developed my interest in education. And I will talk about in this third paragraph about Paulo Freire and his works. So one of the ones that I developed, every of these main ideas that I support with one main idea on each paragraph, I will conclude. I will conclude my essay by saying, for example, my experience as a teacher gave me the tools to accomplish and set future goals. I will expand more, giving more examples, because this is just like a brief example, but if you support these ideas with examples, it would be a great essay. And as an international education advocate, it's always important to read and compare the old works. So once that you have this structure, you have the reader from the beginning to the end, not going to any other ideas like random ideas. You try to put it on the same pad or on the same picture. So that's the purpose of this outline. Another thing, it's plan ahead, as I was saying before. I will give you the tip that what is the best time for you to work? Some people work on the weekends, some people work during the day, maybe at night. As one of you were saying, sometimes you are at the middle of the night and then you have these ideas and this, you may think that is the best time to work. You can do it. So what is the best time for you to work? It's something that I will want you to think about it. Also, how long will the entire writing process take you? Some people sit on the computer and start writing right away. Some other people need inspiration. So if you're one of those that need to take a walk, maybe relax a little bit and then start writing, so do it. It's every person has different processes and different ways to write. Also, who can support you along the way? As Liz was saying before, sometimes it's better to you share this information with someone you care and someone cares of you. So maybe they can see, well, you're doing a great job. You need to fix this. You need to improve this, and it's great way to get feedback from people that you love. So yeah, who can support you along the way? Hopefully you rely on us as Educated USA advisors. But yeah, there can be more people that can help you and support you along the way. Also, what are the resources you need? As I was mentioned before, we have plenty of resources in our blog, and there's a lot of material on the internet. So yeah, there's a lot of resources, and you can ask for help to Education USA too. Also, we're gonna see the differences between an English class essay and a personal statement. They're different. They're both papers, but there are differences between each other. So for the English class essay, the purpose is to make an argument and support with evidence. In this case, the personal statement is to demonstrate the values, skills, qualities, and interests that you will bring to the college campus. In a way, you don't have an argument to prove, you only have to demonstrate by examples in the personal statement, the value that you have. So also on the English class essay, the thesis is often explicit and it appears in the first paragraph. And in the personal statement, it could be also in the first paragraph, but it's often more implying in what you are saying in your introduction. If you are telling the audience about your interest for certain area or certain subject, you can develop on that. It could be specific, but at the same time, it then has to be. Also, the tone in the English class essay is more analytic, often as a specific text, and the personal statement is more casual. It's more personal, as it said on the title, personal statement, and you are the text, which is more important. It's all about you in the personal statement. Also, in the English class essays, as you noticed, there's no I statements. In the personal statement, it's more related with I, myself. So the buildability in an English class, there's not buildability, and in the personal statement, there is a lot of buildability. So also, it helps you understand how a student thinks in the English class essay, and in the personal statement, this helps to understand how the student thinks, feels, works, plays, and more important, lives. So it goes beyond the only how to understand the student thinks. Okay, so let's review some examples. I would like you to do more interaction for this part because I think we're doing the whole talking, the advisors in this part, but I would like you to participate and tell me how can we improve this sentences that we have in this slide. So for example, all these sentences are part of some essays that we reviewed in the past and that we think can we improve in this exercise. So for example, I enjoy going to the movies and I have learned a few life lessons from them. The student is telling us that he learned from movies, but what do you think could be a better improvement or a better sentence in this first example? Someone who wants to participate? How can you improve this? I enjoy to the movies. I go to the movies and have learned few life lessons from them. Patricio?
Well, maybe this student could tell us maybe a few examples of how this occurred, and specify what movies and what type of life lessons they gave them.
Great participation. And yes, he's telling us that the movies taught him a lot of lessons, but what lessons were those, or what movies in particular, which is a good way to improve the sentence. For the second, U.S. culture, my cousin lives there and I visit him every summer. How can you improve this second sentence? Any of the girls who wants to participate? Chancy, yes?
Well, he can as well, like say, how are you familiarized with the culture? What do you do with your cousin when you go every summer? Or something that he likes the most about US that he does with his cousin or something?
Definitely. Thank you for participating. Definitely, maybe provide some examples, provide some experiences he had lived with a cousin. And yeah, how he's familiarized with the US culture. It will be a great way to improve this sentence. Okay, for the third one, I am a keen reader and I am committed to study for human behavior through TV shows. It's a very interesting one. Jacqueline, would you like to participate in how can we improve this sentence?
Well, also with examples maybe and experiences also, or what like kind of TV shows maybe.
Yeah, because it's kind of contradictory because he's saying that he likes to read a lot, but he's trying to show us by something that it's not particularly going through by TV shows. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, he definitely can talk about how it's gonna demonstrate that. Okay, good. For the next one, it's I have led a full life over the last 18 years and it's a tradition I intend to continue. How can you, Patricio, would like to jump in and tell us?
Yes. Well, maybe this person could specify what a full life means to them, and how by studying at that university they can continue this tradition.
Nice, perfectly done. And this one, for example, studying abroad is one of my wildest dreams. Someone wanna jump in for this? Let's hear from one of the advisors. Juanma, can you tell us how this student can improve this? Studying abroad is one of my wildest dreams. And can give us some from your experience that can develop or improve this sentence?
I think I would say that it could be more specific. Yeah, because what I would go with wildest probably, and being more specific on the what is that kind of word? The adjective is probably saying more on what, because while could go either way, could be something good, something bad. Because so I would say, can you be more specific on what while means? Because it leaves it out for interpretation, and many times when we're writing, we don't want people to make their own conclusions, right? And also study abroad. Also, I would also make it more specific and say, well, specifically, where if we're doing this for the U.S., I'm saying being at your university or studying at your specific institution would be a what kind of dream, right? So that's what I would say in this one.
Yeah, and I will also recommend not be like corny or like trying to use like sentences that are most of the people use, like because it sounds like cliche for me. So I don't know. So yeah. The next one, my favorite hobby is beekeeping, and I want to be an engineer. So in that case, it's kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't like match one thing to another. So maybe if you say or he said it's like, my hobby is beekeeping, and I want to pursue an engineer in something related to that field. I don't know. It's kind of, you need to connect ideas. I mean, it's one idea that your hobby it's beekeeping, but what has to do with being an engineer, right? That's the thing. This next one, my interest in climate change became an obsession as I listening to the news and watch documentaries, and I want to solve this problem. Someone wants to jump in and try to improve this sentence? Patricio? Oh, all three of you want to participate. That's great.
Maybe this person could tell us what exactly is it that worries them about climate change, and or they could also tell us how are they planning to solve this problem, or maybe some ideas they have about it.
Okay. Chancy?
There's also a lot of consequences involving climate change. So, like, which one do you want to solve?
Right.
You cannot solve all of them.
Right. And as you see in these examples, the idea is there, but I think that you need to develop and give more information to the reader, because if you are too general, you lose the interest of the reader sometimes. So I think being as specific and try to come up with examples, it's a good way to do it. Let's go to the next one. My mom is an engineer, and I want to be like her because she's a role model for me. Okay, it's a good idea. It's a good thing to put that example and be personal and be vulnerable. But how it's this? How is your mom your role model? What does she do in the past, or maybe some example, some previous story that can give the reader some insight about this example. And the last one, I like to work hard always and get what I want. What do you all three think about this sentence? Jacqueline, can you give us some insight or maybe some ideas about how to improve, or how to change?
Well, the student is being like general, and he could be like more specific, like, and maybe he could also give like one example or how he's going to do that, maybe.
Yes, well, and also let's say that and always get what I want. It's something that it could be a bad skill, or maybe a bad thing, because I mean, if you always get what I want, so you don't have to cope with maybe with failure, or maybe I don't know, with yeah, it's something, it could be a bad thing. So you need to explain in a good way how you always get what you want. It's kind of. In another example from how to improve your writing, it's say Just don't say, I'm a member of the college chess club. I also play the clarinet in the orchestra. That will be the sentence like the previous that we were reviewing. In this case, you can say, I have developed my problem solving skills through playing chess, which is one of the ideas from the first sentence. And for college, it requires concentration and analytical thought. I used to working as part of a team as I play the clarinet in college orchestra and cooperate with others to achieve at finished production. As you see, the first sentence is one idea, but in the second part, you develop and you put examples and you put what skills that you develop by doing these activities. So yeah, don't be just the first sentence. Try to come up with some skills and some examples to try to develop and try to show the reader what you have to do or what you need to do. And do's and do nots at the time you are writing. One most important thing in this part is writing formal language. Do not use contractions. Like if you're gonna say, I am a good student, put it in that way, I am. Do not short the sentence, because this is most of the time seen as informal language if you do contractions. So yeah, try to spell it out every time that you write in English. Do not write it as a letter, because I've seen that most of the time when you are doing a personal statement, you start it out to my concern on everything. It's an essay. Remember, it's an essay. It's not a letter. Also provide examples. Don't use cliche phrases like as we've seen before. Try to set why you are applying, your goals, use the best vocabulary, but this is tricky. Use words that you commonly use. Do not go to the thesaurus or other places to look for words that are not familiar and that you just use it because you see that it's a synonym for that word. Try to use vocabulary that you use in your common communications. Write multiple drafts, use your own voice and your writing style, and also proofread. Also, every time that you have a draft, try to come up with someone who can read it and give you feedback. It's a good thing. Also, don't be too general or vague. Do not use word repetition. Polish your fist for your fist draft. It's always a good thing. Do not use large intellectual words, as I was saying before, and do not rely on spell check, because I don't know, my kids sometimes do errors. So yeah, do not rely on those. And I will give the floor to Liz. She's gonna share some proofreading recommendations and tips.
Thank you, Hector. Yeah, so Hector has just shared very nice tips for you. We know that there's a lot of information, but you're going to have enough time to practice what you're learning here. And one of those tips that is proofreading. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this one. So this is a very good tip to helping you excel your writing. And I'd like to invite Jackie to read what proofreading is, please.
Proofreading means examining your text carefully to find and correct typographical errors and mistakes in grammar, style, and spelling. Here are some tips.
Yes, thank you, Jackie. Yeah, as Jackie has just shared with us, okay, so there are some times, especially when we are not native speakers, even native speakers need to do this, let me tell you. Okay, and but sometimes we can excel better in our writing or in our writing improving our grammar and style and spelling, because we have learned English in a different way, looking at, I can say sometimes more in detail. And but it is very important that in the process, when you are learning how to write in academic English, sometimes you need to pay special attention on all these details first, okay? So could you please go to the next slide? Thank you. All right, so Shenzi, could you please read these strategies when you proofread, please?
Yes. When you proofread, work on a printout, not the computer screen. Read out loud. This is especially helpful for spotting random sentences, but you'll also hear other problems that you may not see when reading silently. Use a blank sheet of paper to cover up the lines below the one you're reading. This technique keeps you from skipping ahead of possible mistakes. Use the search function of the computer to find mistakes you're likely to make.
Yes, thank you, Shensi. So as Shensi just read, okay, I don't know if I'm sure that you have lived this before, but it is incredible how our brains and our sight works when we are reading to something in the computer, and when we print it out, we can see some mistakes that we could swear that weren't there before. So this is a very good technique. So to print it out so that you can see the mistakes there. And also a good tip is that you ask someone to read your text, so that person might notice those mistakes that you are not noticing. Or also when you have been like for a long time sitting down reading, okay, there is a time when you cannot notice some mistakes. So it is good that you stand up and go for a walk for half an hour or 20 minutes or something, and then you come back and you can read your text again. Okay, so another technique is like, I'm a teacher and I always ask my students to read out loud, because reading out loud helps your brain to connect language in a different way than when you are reading out silently. Okay, because when you are reading out loud, okay, your language system is working, your brain is working, your sight is working, and also your ears. So all your system is working in a different way so than when you are reading in silence. Okay, so okay, this technique about the blank sheet is also interesting, and I motivate you to do it. And also there is a search function on the computer to find mistakes, but don't rely completely on it. Okay, so it is helpful at times, but not all the time. So you can also use maybe a dictionary to find out how to write down a word. Okay, so when you have even a small doubt on how to write or how a word is written, please go to the dictionary. Okay, so to make sure that that word is well written. Okay, so next slide, please. So there are some resources for improving your writing that are for free for all of you, and that we have in our Education USA WordPress blog. Okay, so if you can go to Google, I'm going to share it with you here. So here in the chat, so that you can find it out. So it's Education USA Mexico WordPress. Okay, so this is our blog, and it has tons of resources here that you can use in order to help yourselves when you start writing your essay. Okay, you're going to see that here. You're going to look for the information related to admisión a licenciatura. That is your information. So there are some specifics here, like the college board for essays. So you can find some essay prompts, scholarships essays, letters of recommendation, personal statement, resume, grammar tips. Okay, this is a very good one. I didn't know about this one. So there are also very good grammar tips that will help you to have a good writing or improve your writing. Okay, so there's a resume template. Where is it? Okay, so but these ones related to the college essay guy, we love him because he's always sharing very good tips so that you can improve your writing and to improve also your essay. And we invite you to go through these documents that will be very helpful. All right, so that's it on my end. So we'd like to ask you guys if you have any questions.
What's gonna be your homework?
Yeah, so Patricio, go ahead.
So when will the next meeting be? Like online meeting?
Yeah,
That's a
Juanma.
good question. Let me check on the schedule. For the essay writing bootcamp, this is the last one. So there were two, and then from now on, what you will be doing is that you are going to be working with the essays advisor through email to share your first draft. Remember, let me go back to that presentation real quick.
In this case, you're going to be meeting with me, Patricio, so we can schedule a meeting whenever you want. Just send me an email and we will look for our schedules and we can come up with a date and time.
Okay, thank you. No problem.
Yeah. Remember this slide that I shared first on our first day? So now you're going to go and start putting into practice what we've mentioned today. Start brainstorming, start doing all the things that answering the questions, start writing your first draft, checking that your first draft has the 4 qualities, that you're telling a story, that you have your values. Again, look at these sessions again and make sure that you're writing a good first draft. Don't send a bad first draft. You need to be writing a really, really good first draft, and that needs to be delivered. Either you can upload it in the Google Classroom, or you can send it directly to Liz or to Hector by June 30th. We're going to take about a week to read it, send you feedback, and then again, you are off again to writing, taking notes on the things that your advisor is going to tell you, and then be ready to submit a second draft by August 7th. So this summer, you're going to be working on writing these two drafts, right? So that's the work in terms of writing. And then once you have your second draft, you're gonna get feedback on that. And then your third draft, you're not gonna send to Hector or to Liz. You're going to send to your main advisor, which is going to be either Yandy or me or Hector, right? But yeah, your third, your fourth, your 140th draft, that's the one you were going to continue working with the rest of us. That's in terms of what's next for essay writing. And then yes, Hector.
Yeah, in this case, you're going to be working with me the whole process. So I'm going to review your first draft, second draft, and all the drafts that you want to send me. So,
yeah, thank you.
Not a problem.
And then just to show you how to find where our next activities are. Remember that we have here on the resources, and then we're going to be uploading here these sessions. But let me, where's the documents? Here it is. This is from last year. We don't have this one updated yet. Okay. Yeah, okay. So let me stop sharing then because I need to find it. But it should be in the Google Classroom soon. I'm going to, because I want to tell you guys what's our next thing. I'm pretty sure that they sent you this document not long ago, so I would encourage you to look into your email accounts. But yeah, this is 2023. So this is where we are right now, undergraduates 6 and 8, right? And then the third week of June will be our next thing. We don't have the date exactly, but we're going to be talking about what documents are we going to be collecting from you for your application and for sending for translations. And then the fourth week of June, we're going to have a speed meeting event. First week of July, we're going to have a TOEFL session. And first week of July, we're going to have an SAT session. So we don't have the exact dates already, but second week of July, we're going to have a Common App one-on-one. So those are some of the dates, but you should have access to this document. And we will gonna put it in the Google Classroom. Actually, yes. I'm gonna put it right now. Yeah, but yeah, those are the events that are coming up. That's a good question. Any other question?
I have a question. Is the GER another type of exam? Because I've seen a lot about that, but what's the GER? What? GRE, sorry.
So that is a it's not for you. It's for grantees going into masters and PhD. Yeah, and PhD. So it's not for you. Don't worry about that. It's the equivalent to the SAT for you guys. So you're doing the SAT, they are doing the GRE. What else? What other question before we wrap it up for today? Yes, Patricia, you have another question?
Yes. So for now, our homework is to write the first draft of our essay, right?
Right. Yes. So you have one of your homeworks that will be start writing your essay, your first draft. You should be also you have already started your Magouche test prep course. And then the other one is that you should be looking for institutions doing that. The document that 20 universities, 30 universities do more than that. those should be the three things that you should be using your time right now regarding the program: writing your first draft, your essay, looking for universities and completing that, and meeting with your advisor soon on that, and working on the Magoosh test prep material.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, it's going to be an intense summer. Besides all the different things that you have to do, there's other things that you are going to be doing for the program, for opportunity funds. Well, we hope that you received enough information to start writing. If you have questions, there's content that you feel that you still need to review. There's two things: go back and review this recording, and then the other one, ask questions. Please send us email. We have content, we have materials that we can send you. Please don't hesitate to write us an email and ask questions. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Hector and Liz, also for being here and co-presenting on these sessions. So I really appreciate all your work, all your hard work in this. So yeah, anything else you want to say before we disconnect, Hector or Liz?
Thank you for your attendance and participation. And if you have any questions, please send us an email. We're open to help you out.
Yes, and would like to motivate you also to use all the techniques that we shared with you during the last session and this session as well. We know that there's a lot of information, but try to use as much as you can. We're here to help.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.